Hey everyone, if you follow me on Twitter, then you know that yesterday I got a chance to check out the movie Unplanned, starring Ashley Bratcher as Abby Johnson. Abby Johnson is a woman who spent about 8 years at Planned Parenthood. She went up the ranks, she became a clinic director at one of their largest facilities, and after witnessing an abortion, she had a complete change of heart, changed her life. She's now really vocal, beloved pro-life activist, and this film tells the story briefly of her life and where she got to where she was, and then it gets into her experiences at Planned Parenthood, some of the realities of abortion, and it follows then the subsequent. After she left Planned Parenthood, they tried to actually sue her, so it goes into the court case a little bit, and really the film's focus is how she fit her personal Christian beliefs in with the career that she had in being one of the, as she said in the film, she assisted thousands of women in convincing them to have an abortion, and the guilt of that is something that she now has to live with and reconcile herself with. And I highly recommend, as I said yesterday, on social media, I think everyone should go see this film. If you're not sure about abortion, you should go see it. If you're pro-life, go support this film in theaters. It's only going to be out through Thursday. It's got a limited theatrical release, so it's really important that everyone go out and support this movie. I especially think if you have teenagers, go take them to see it so they can really see the repercussions of, premarital sex or casual sex, irresponsible sex. And I will warn you, it is graphic. That's why I say I would stress it's probably most appropriate for teens. I think if you have adolescents that you could have a conversation with them beforehand, it might be okay, but it's not unnecessarily or gratuitously graphic. But I mean, within the first 10 minutes you see an abortion, and it is really, it can be very upsetting if you're a younger person who may not be prepared for it. So highly recommend it. It's incredibly educational, powerful. Anyone who's curious, there's a lot of information in it, there's a lot of science in it. It is about a Christian family and their experiences with what Abby was doing as a career, but they also pack it with a lot of scientific information. So it's not completely for, just a religious pro-life person. Anyone who's pro-life would be able to get something out of this movie. And the reason why I wanted to do a review, because I haven't reviewed a film in years, but it bothered me when I went online this morning and looked for reviews of the film, because I sort of predicted you were going to see a lot of regressive, far left woke, activist journalists talking about how horrible it is. I was disappointed that I also saw a lot of conservative journalists, a lot of conservative celebrities just, showering praise on this film like it's the greatest thing that's ever been made. And I don't feel like that's being honest. Do I think the film is powerful? Do I think it should be mandatory viewing? Yeah, I do. I think everyone should go see it. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. That doesn't mean it's the greatest thing that's ever been made. And so I just wanted to touch base a little bit on some of my thoughts. I wanted to give it an honest review because I haven't seen many of those. So the big thing that stood out to me from its critics, a lot of people are slamming it for being overly religious. And to me, that really just means it's Christian. Because I think we all know, if this were a Jewish family, talking about their faith and how that conflicts with abortion, if they were having some of these conversations in a synagogue, there'd be no problem with that. If this were a Muslim family talking about their relationship with Allah and they were having some of these conversations in a mosque, nobody would have a problem with that either. It's the fact that this is a Christian family. This was a Christian woman who was assisting so many other women in getting an abortion. That is what bothers people, because for whatever reason, It's okay to hate Christians right now. Not okay to have problems with any other religion or any other faith, but Christians are fair game, and I don't think that's fair. So that to me is should immediately show you the bias of whatever review you're reading. So there's the typical response that it's just pro-life drivel, and I'll say there are some times where the dialogue gets into hokiness. It does at times play like a Hallmark Channel movie, which incidentally Hallmark Channel refused to air ads for the film. But there are times where it delves into hokiness, into corniness. The dialogue is a little forced sometimes. There were a couple times where Mike and I kind of chuckled and rolled our eyes a little bit. But where this movie is exceptional is in the performances of the two lead characters. Ashlee Bratcher as Abby Johnson is just amazing. She is so good, and especially because, and I'll get to this in a second, but some of her shared scenes aren't as good when she is by herself and it's just her and the camera. Man, she's amazing. She's really good, and I hope that this is the start of a bigger career for her, a longer career for her. On the flip side, the real like star of this film, I guess, or the one who kind of steals the film, is Robia Scott as Cheryl. She is so good as the villain. It is just, man, you hate her by the end of the movie. There's a part where Ashlee's character Abby sees her at the end and says she just wants to walk up and punch her, and you are right there with her. Robia Scott just did an excellent job. And if you're not familiar, I couldn't figure out where I'd seen her from. She was actually Miss Calendar on Buffy the Vampire Slayer from a while back. And she was the star of the Diamonds and Pearls music video by Prince. She actually went on tour with him for a little while. So she is just exceptional in this film. Both of these women deserve some sort of award, some sort of professional accolade that they're never going to get because they were in a Christian pro-life movie. So these two women really saved this film from just going into complete cheese. I think sometimes when you have like casting budgets, talent budgets, with a smaller film like this, you've got to really pay attention to the main characters, which is what they did. So, their scenes together are just like pure fire. Some of Ashlee's scenes with some of the other characters aren't quite as good, and that's unfortunate because I think this is a really important movie. So that's just sort of my take on it. I didn't like that I saw this sort of extreme one way or the other review, and I don't see a lot of people out there being honest about the film. If I had to rate it, I would say 5 out of 5 stars based on the subject matter, based on the importance of the film, and based on the quality of the two lead actresses' performances. Everything else, though, I would probably give it like a 3 out of 5. It veered into a little bit of hokiness sometimes. The dialogue wasn't always the best, so that sort of, it gives it a little bit of a so I guess I'd say 4 out of 5 to kind of average it. But highly recommend, if you can, please go see this movie. Go support this movie while it's in theaters. And just as an added note, if you're following my channel before this, I'm on a personal yoga outreach fundraising campaign. Today is the last day if you want to grab a t-shirt from bonfire.com/twofingersbourbon. I'll put a link down below. That campaign's going to end at midnight tonight. So if you still want to participate, you want to grab an original shirt. The quote is something that I did. It's inspired by my love for Christ, and I've been reading the Bible a lot recently, and so if you want to participate, it's there, and one shirt equals one mat or some yoga supplies for someone in need. So that's it. Thank you so much. And One last thing, my digital mom, Catherine B, did not get a good enough look at the ring last time. So let me hold that up for you. Love you, Catherine, and take care, everyone. Keep being excellent to each other.